What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay Bonsey, engineer here at Runnitbak Studios. You already know we're rocking with the Vocal Mixing Series. Now, on our last video, we applied compression. If you didn't see it, just check my bio, hit the link, it'll bring you straight to the YouTube page. We're gonna be working on the same song by the same artist, XO Black. Compression has already been applied. We did that on the last video. Now let's do the next step. With no further ado, let's get started. Let's do some EQing. All right, so EQ, what is EQ? Well, the best way I could describe that, think of it as shaping sound. You only have so many frequencies within the sound spectrum range, 20 hertz up to 20,000 hertz, okay? The low end being your subwoofers, your bass, the high end being, you know, Mariah Carey. So sometimes what happens when you're recording vocals in a song, you have the person's vocals in the same range as, say, a synth within the beat. And that frequency range then becomes cluttered and can be referred to as a term called muddy. We don't want that. We want clarity. We want all the instruments. We want all the sounds, and we want all the vocals to be in its own space. We just want everything to cut through. We want everything to pop out of the mix, all right? And EQ is gonna make that happen, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is take a listen to what we have so far. Again, this is the same hook that we were working on in the last video with the same compression applied. Okay, so let's just review that.
Mr. Murderer, can't take it no more. Why you keep me like try come for more? You better see your way out through the door. Cause you a killer, killer, yeah, 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 yeah. Cold-blooded killer, killer, yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, so not bad. Vocals are a little flat, a little dull, but it's nothing a little EQ can't fix or at least greatly assist. Before we jump into pitch correction, that will be in a different video. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna use is a parametric EQ, okay? Parametric equalizer, this comes stock with Adobe Audition, and it gets the job done. So we're gonna start off with a preset just because this is gonna give us our basic shape that we're looking for, and we could tweak from there. So I'd like to use this vocal enhancer. The reason why I use that, well, first let's back up and let's explain why this is called a parametric EQ. This style of equalizer gives you these access points that you could boost or cut. Basically, when you boost, they look like little, you know, open parachutes. That's why it's called parametric equalizer. Now, in this particular preset, the reason why I like to start off with this is because it automatically applies a high pass filter, okay? So if you notice, this has a down slope and all the frequencies starting from about 80 down are cut. That's because the human voice does not have any presence within this lower frequency range. Let's go ahead and cut these frequencies out and allow instrument sounds that have presence within this area or within this range live there. You'll notice that there's a cut right here at about 300. 291.5 to be exact. There's a cut at -3. That's perfect. I always like to make a slight cut between, say, 250 and 500 because that range tends to clash and compete with a lot of instrument frequencies, causing it to sound muddy. So if you make cuts in ranges where there's a lot going on, there's a lot of sounds on top of each other, if you just make little cuts here and there, you could help eliminate that problem and all the sounds will cut through more clearer. All right, so we have a cut right here at 300, and then we have a boost in the high end from about 10K on up to just before 20. Now this, you're not even really gonna hear because the artist is not nearly that high. This is pretty much Mariah Carey status right here, but that's fine. This is good enough to start with. So we're good with that. Now let's take a listen to how that sounds. So first we'll play it without.
Yeah.
let's turn it on. See if we notice the difference.
Mr. Murderer, can't take it no more. How you keep my light, try come for more. You better see your way out through the door.
All right, so the vocals are brighter. They're more in your face. They're cutting through clearer. We're getting there. It's starting to take shape here, okay? So let's move on to our second equalizer that I like to apply. We're gonna do a graphic band equalizer. We're gonna hit them with a 20. Graphic equalizer, 20 bands, all right? So this is a little different from the parametric. We don't have the access points to, sort of boost or cut. Instead, we have these bands here. The same principle as the parametric. We're gonna cut the frequencies that we don't need, and we're gonna boost the frequencies that need to be boosted. And typically for vocals, you're gonna want your higher ends boosted, and just like on the last one, you're gonna want to cut the lower frequencies that are not being used. I usually start off with a preset, but this would probably be better so you can see the shape of the sound that we are currently carving out. All right, so down goes the lower frequencies. Like I said, I like to cut a little between 250 and 500. So we'll cut there, we'll cut there, we'll cut there. I like to cut at 1K. 1K is a very nasal sound of the vocal. If you boost the 1K, it's gonna bring out that nasally sound. I don't necessarily like that. It's more of a preference thing. So I just cut at 1K to take away that nasal sound. Then I boost a little bit at 5.6K, just a little bit. I boost more at 8K, at 5.8, that's fine for now. And then I boost a little at 11, just a little. That's fine because I already boosted on the parametric, so I don't want to over boost, okay? That's the other thing. Keep in mind, general rule for EQing, you want to cut more than you boost. Why is that? Because I've already explained in earlier mixing videos that our job as engineers is to turn down, okay? Because typically things are way too loud, okay? Now, what happens when you're boosting, even in EQ, you're increasing the general loudness of whatever it is you're mixing. So if I'm sitting here and I'm just boosting, I just increase the loudness of that vocal, okay? So that's not really doing what we're supposed to be doing as engineers, okay? Not necessarily. There are some cases where you want to increase the loudness, but more times than not, you don't. All right. So, anyways, this will work. This is about right for our 20 band EQ. So once again, let's take a listen to it. You're gonna hear it with just the parametric EQ. Now let's go ahead and turn it on. Let's see if we can tell the difference.
Mr. Murderer, can't take it no more. How you keep my light, try come for more. You better see your way out through the door.
It sounds even more brighter. Now it's starting to sound airy. I'm starting to hear a more definitive shape within these vocal frequencies. All right, so I'm liking it, and honestly, I'm starting to get excited. This is what drives me as an audio engineer, the passion for perfecting my craft. And when things start working and sounding better, I get happy, okay? So that's our 20 band, all right? Now, I do use one more form of EQ, and this is a plugin called After, all right? So let's go ahead and pull that out. This plugin is really dope. I ain't gonna lie to you. Once I got this, it's kind of elevated my sound to another level. As you can see here, instead of necessarily working with numbers and frequency ranges, instead, this plugin works with descriptions: clarity, New York, punch, body, arrow, mono-wise, and gain. So I don't use New York, I don't use mono-wise. I do use everything else. Let's speak a little bit about these. Clarity is basically a boost in your high end. okay? Punch is increasing or decreasing transient sounds. Body is basically the low end. It also is described as fullness. It kind of gives you that oomph. So if you ever had a problem with vocals sounding too thin or too tinny, go ahead and increase that body. It'll boost that lower end, resulting in more oomph. Arrow is high end. So clarity is high end. Arrow is even more high end. So as you can see, I have both of those boosted up. I have the punch boosted up pretty good. I have the body cranked up maximum. Let's again take a listen and see how this affects the sound. Okay, so we'll do a before. And we'll do a after, no pun intended. All right, so I'm gonna stop it right there. Right out the gate, you could hear the body increase. At the very least, right in front of your face, you should be able to clearly hear the difference and hear the effect of that body on the vocal, okay? So let's do it one more time. We'll do it before. And we'll do it after.
Mr. Murderer, can't take it no more. How you keep my light, try come for more. You better see your way out through the door. Cause you a killer, killer, yeah, 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 yeah. Cold-blooded killer, killer, yeah, 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 yeah.
All right, so there you go. I actually turned down the arrow just a little bit. The high end was a little too high for me. It became sharp where it starts piercing your ears. You don't want that, so just, you know, roll it back a little bit, and there you have it. So that's the after. So to review, we applied a parametric equalizer, we applied a 20-band graphic equalizer, and we applied the after plugin. Okay, that in a nutshell, folks, is my EQ process. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Definitely be on the lookout for our next video where we start looking at pitch correction. And at this point, we are more than halfway done with the mix. This is gonna be super exciting to see how this turns out. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next video. J Bonds, Runnitbak Studios, signing out. Peace.
I know how you're feeling. You feel like you're brand new one. And it hurts, I did you wrong. Made promises and then I changed them. Said I'll be there to keep you strong. And I lied, I cheated. I wasn't the man for you. But I'll be a fool if I let you go. So please don't let this go. No, Mr. Murderer, can't take it no more. How you keep my light, try come for more. You better see your way out through the door. Cause you a killer.